My spouse and I agreed on everything. Awesome. We can save money and not hire lawyers. Fantastic. We're just gonna write it up ourselves and have an uncontested divorce. Easy peasy, right? Okay, every time I hear this, I have a little bit of heart palpitations because this makes me so incredibly nervous. I cannot tell you how many times I have had to fix a divorce that was done pro se, and sometimes by some really, really smart people with PhDs, people who have businesses of their own. Why do they want to waste their money on lawyers? After all, they agree on everything. They don't have kids. They just wrote it down. What's the problem, right? Right? Look, here's the problem. Lawyers write contracts. We write and read contracts all the time, and that is what your divorce is. Your divorce agreement is a contract, and if you don't write it in the right way, or you don't write it in a way that's going to really protect you all going down the road in the future, you're going to run into problems. And just like a paper cut is easy to solve with a Band-Aid and maybe some Neosporin, but gangrene is really hard to fix once it sets in, you want to fix the problems when they're small, not when they're big. So here are some common pitfalls. Number one, trying to write complicated retirement divisions without consulting a lawyer. Number two, writing complicated custody agreements that don't actually have any real definitive things in them. Some real definitive times for exchange, for example, or clear answers to what happens for vacations or decision-making or other things. Another one that I see is people being very unrealistic about a sale of the house. Oh, when we sell a house, we're going to split proceeds. Okay, cool, but when are you going to do that? By what date are you going to be required to do that? Who's going to be in charge of the fix-up costs? Who's going to front them? Are they going to get them back on the other end? Who's going to pay the mortgage in the meantime? Who's going to keep the lights on? Who's going to be responsible for cleaning out all the things that have been accumulating in the house for 30 years? These are the details that matter, because when they aren't resolved up front, these are the details that come back and bite people in the butt later. I know that lawyers are an investment. I do. But we're an investment for a reason. If you get us at the paper cut stage, you're probably not going to have to pay that much if you and your spouse truly do agree on everything. But we can save you from the gangrene. So if you think you have an uncontested divorce, fantastic. It is wonderful when parties agree on everything. But get proper legal advice, have it written down, your agreement, by a lawyer, and then go ahead and move on to your new beginning, because that's the important part. When do I see DIY divorces backfire? All the time. All the time. I tell people this every single day. Look, I understand, especially in really tough economic times, that divorce is expensive, and divorce lawyers are an investment and are very expensive. And people would rather save their money for college or other things. And, you know, you and this person got along for so long, you can figure out an agreement yourself, right? Right? I mean, your neighbor gave you their separation agreement. You're just going to, take that and mirror it and use it as a template and you'll be fine, right? Wrong. Let me tell you, first, using online forms, they're the thing that scares me the most. I'm not talking about the ones put out by the courts in Maryland or the courts in DC. I'm talking about those complicated LegalZoom ones that don't tailor a document to you. We've seen so many mistakes in them. People putting in there how assets can be divided that just can't be divided that way. Complicated retirement assets, or buyout agreements for alimony, or buyout agreements for houses that just don't work and just are not clear, or that just simply cannot be done. I have had to undo DIY divorces that people committed to things that they couldn't actually keep up. They committed to a certain amount of alimony, and they put in there the magic words that it is non-modifiable, having no idea what that meant, having no idea that that magic word meant that even if they were hit by a bus and no longer could earn an income and were on Social Security, they're still going to have to pay that alimony because they agreed and they used the magic word. This is complicated stuff. It's not easy. And you want to make sure that you are not messing up your future. You're not messing up your new beginning. So don't DIY your divorce. I don't care if you are 20 years old with no children and no assets, at least get a consultation. Have a lawyer, a real lawyer that does family law, look over your paperwork, and then go ahead and get your divorce and start your new beginning. Don't take advice from the person you're divorcing. I wish I could tattoo that on my forehead, or if I was really good at cross stitch, I would cross stitch this on a pillow and I would share it everywhere. Put it on a t-shirt, put it on a billboard, but stop taking advice, especially legal advice, from the person you're divorcing. I don't care if they're an upstanding citizen. They are protecting their own interests, as should you. As should you. I have had to undo so many different divorces where people sat down and they trusted the person that was sitting across from them, the person maybe that was cheating on them, or the person that was the more financially prudent or financially responsible spouse, meaning that they knew all the assets and you maybe didn't know as much. You have to be able to trust yourself. After all, that's who you're going to rely on in your new beginning. And trusting yourself means getting good advice, so that you can make good decisions about yourself. And good advice comes from good lawyers. Don't start your new beginning on a path that is created and dictated by your soon-to-be ex. Start your path on the one that you chose from a place of strength, from a place of knowledge, and with the help of trusted advisors. When you hire a lawyer, they're your advocate. So what the heck is an advocate? Number one, they're someone who is supposed to educate and empower you. This means they're supposed to break down the intricacies of family law, the intricacies of divorce law, so that you understand what a court is likely to do. You understand your best day and your worst day possible. You understand what the likely outcomes are, so that you can make a decision. Is it worth fighting or is it worth settling? And so you can decide, is it worth settling for this? Or am I entitled to a whole lot more and I really should go get it, whether it's through a court or through a mediator or tougher negotiations? Your attorney doesn't just advise you, though. They actually advocate for you. And advocating for you means talking in court, means explaining to a judge why you're right and why you should get the things that you want. It means going to mediation with a plan. It means going to mediation prepared with all the documents, with all the numbers, and explaining to the mediator why they should help guide the other party to seeing things your way, or at least agreeing to having things your way. And it also means negotiating from a position of strength, not just calling up opposing counsel and saying, my client wants A, B, and C. Well, why? Because they do. It means calling up opposing counsel and saying, I did my homework. The parties have this. The parties have this. Here's the value of this. And here's a fair and equitable outcome. This is what my client wants. The most prepared legal team is the one that usually wins. The most reasonable legal team is the one that usually wins. And the person you want advocating for you, fighting for you in court if need be, is the person that's going to be the most prepared and is going to make sure that we go back to the beginning and you're the most prepared, because this is your life and this is your new beginning and you're in charge. So make sure you have all the information that you need and that your advocate is educating you so that you can make decisions from a position of strength. You and your spouse work out your divorce. You sit around your kitchen table, you figure out custody, you figure out a division of assets, and you figure out a way that everybody is financially supported. Congratulations. The end's in sight. You have done it. You have done what everybody wants to do. You have figured out your uncontested divorce. It's time to put pen to paper and let's get this done. Only when you put pen to paper, you realize you got a big problem. You and your spouse weren't on the same page the way you thought. And let's face it, it's happened before, right? You and your spouse figured out weekend plans before, only to realize that you weren't on the same page. Maybe you weren't even in the same chapter or in the same book, but you thought you were. We see this every day. It happens all the time. And there are a couple different ways that we can help you fix it. So way number one is get attorneys involved before feelings get too hurt. And trust me, feelings do get hurt. When people think that they have solved their divorce, that everything is about to be done and that they have an agreement, only to find out that they weren't on the same page at all, feelings do get involved and people get upset. So when you get attorneys involved, attorneys act as your advocate. They're going to negotiate for you, and maybe they can save the deal. Maybe they can figure out some tweaks that help get both of you back on the same page so you can cross that finish line, get your divorce, and start your new beginning. But if they're unable to save it, the next is just the normal process. Discovery, where you figure out what assets are available, what information is available to help determine the best interests of the children. Some kind of negotiation, whether that's attorney-to-attorney negotiation, collaborative divorce, or mediation, or any of another amount of dispute resolution processes. And if that doesn't work, If you can't solve it, you're just going to go to court. And don't be afraid of court. I know it's expensive and scary, but it's just a dispute resolution process when all the other ones fail. So, what happens when your uncontested divorce turns contested? Either we save it or we do the normal process. Either way, at the end of it, you get to start your new beginning.